Well, cool to have a special guest here on the Tee to Green podcast. And we love Western New York. That's where Tee to Green's based out of here. And it's always great to hear the stories of Western New Yorkers. And here's an original Western New Yorker whom I guess I'm going to call him George Clooney Jr. because he lives up in the air. That's what he told me when I first talked to him. Mark Rivers joins me here.
Hi, Kevin. Yeah.
I'm accurate, right? You told me you basically live on an airplane right now.
I basically live on an airplane. Exactly. I'm on an airplane so often. I once was traveling. I flew out of at the same airport so often that one morning I slept in, deciding to take a later flight, but my phone rings, and it's the gate attendant for United at the gate calling to say, "Hey, Mark, we're about to shut the gate. I see that you're on the roster here today. Are you going to make this flight? Because we'll just hold everything for a couple minutes or not." And I said, "No, I'm going to take a later flight." But you know you've flown too much when they're calling you from the gate, offering to hold the plane to make sure you make it.
Yeah, that's one step above knowing how you take your coffee. So
exactly, well, as we all know, air travel is hardly exotic these days.
Yeah, that is for sure true. Well, let's start with your start. So you grew up in Western New York, originally from the Ellicottville area. Is that correct?
Ellicottville. Yep. Grew up in Ellicottville. Where we had 3 seasons: summer, winter, and next winter. And it was a great place to grow up. It's funny. Ellicottville is a ski town. I didn't grow up as a skier because I was a basketball player, but one of my first jobs was loading chairlifts at Holiday Valley, the ski resort there, and it's a great town, and that I'll always love. It's a special place in my heart today, and in fact, went back and bought a house there 15-ish years or so ago, and spend as much time there as I can, both the summer and the winter.
And your travels have you're in real estate development, so we'll fast forward the story here a little bit. But you're real estate development, and you're all over the country.
Yeah, real estate development. Been doing that for about 25 years in different parts of the country, and in the last 10 years or so, I've really focused on the hospitality space, sort of hotels and resorts and master plan communities, and then found myself in the last couple of years in particular focusing on sort of some golf-centric or golf-branded developments, and which is interesting because I'm not the best of golfers at all, and people keep talking about how golf is a sport in decline, and yet I found myself in the middle of a couple of different golf developments and have enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, and that's where people are going, okay, come on, Kevin, get to the golf part here. Either Mark's a great golfer, knows a lot about golf, or owns golf. And then we'll get to the owns golf here because one of the projects that you're involved with is a unique course on a couple of levels. I think, 1, because of where it's located, 2, the design, and 3, who's all a part of it. So but let's start with the golf course itself, Sweetens Cove Golf Club. Tell everybody about Sweetens Cove Golf Club, where it is and what it's about.
So Sweetens Cove Golf Club is a 9-hole track, 25 minutes northwest of Chattanooga towards Nashville. It was an old municipal track that fell into disrepair, A local family came in to save it and preserve it and hired a couple of local guys in the Chattanooga area to redesign it, reimagine it, and reopen it. It closed for a while. And so these couple of guys there, one of them is the principal's name is Rob Collins. They redesigned this course and reopened it. And once it was reopened, it was magic. They essentially found and created lightning in a bottle. And no one knew it going in that these designers were unicorns. They were unbelievable, capable designers and Imagineers, and reopened this course. And it started to take off over a couple of years, really in 2017 and 2018. In 2017, a newspaper article appeared called "The Little Course That Could," in which it spoke of this golf course, this 9-hole golf course in rural Tennessee might actually be the future of golf because it was just 9 holes with multiple tee boxes, could be played all sorts of different ways. It had a great culture and attitude to it. It was Tin Cup meets Field of Dreams. It didn't have a clubhouse, but it had a dog, and it just was a real fun, interesting place for people to play. And that story, The Little Course That Could, appeared in the New York Times, and so suddenly people started to pay attention to it, and then I guess the legend of Sweetens Cove really reached its apex in 2018 when Golf Week magazine does its top 100 listing of modern courses in America. And Sweetens Cove is the only 9-hole course on the list. It's number 50, ranked higher than 4 courses that have hosted a U.S. Open and 2 courses that have hosted a Ryder Cup.
Which is incredible. Not only because of the story of it being redone, but a 9-hole course being rated that high, and just because the stigma. Wow, you got to have 18 holes and a golf course here, but just talk about it being a 9-hole golf course and how you feel that contributes to the appeal and success of it.
Well, it's funny. There are 2 ways to look at 9 holes. One way to look at it is it's a perfect tonic if you don't want to spend 4 hours and then also go into the grill room and it becomes 5 hours and this and that. You've only got a couple of hours that you want to play. You can go bang out 9 holes pretty easy. That's one way to look at 9 holes. The other way to look at 9 holes is it's a track, and it's a track in which you can do multiple laps. And it's a track in which you can go out and you can play it one way the first time, you can play it a second way the second time, you can spend as much time there as you want. And I'll just share with you this last Monday, just a couple of days ago, I was on course, and there were 2 types of groups there. One group that was there were some guys who came in just to play 9 holes and experience Sweetens Cove. One of the golfers in that group was Johnson Wagner from the PGA Tour. He wrapped up the Byron Nelson on Sunday at 5 o'clock, and he was on the course at Sweetens Cove playing 9 holes Monday at 7 in the morning. And just because he wanted to experience it and see what it was all about, had a great time. He just wanted to play 9 and play it on a special course. That same day, I met a couple from Lexington, Kentucky, who drove down 5 hours to Sweetens Cove with the intent of playing 54 holes. They were just going to play through 6 times. And they wanted to try every different tee box, try every different, shot that was available on each and every hole. And it was a way you could just bang through and play through. We don't have traditional tee times. We don't have a starter. You can kind of go through and play your way through it as much as you want. Take a quick break and go back out and hit it. If you're a golf enthusiast, whether you've got a limited amount of time or you just want to go out and play as much as you possibly can on a spectacular golf course, you can do either.
Do you have the ball thing? If you don't have a starter, do you have the thing you put the ball in and it swirls around to the bottom, next ball up?
No.
Kind of like Kaz Park in Buffalo.
No, we don't. We're excited. We have it. We'll talk about it in a second. I'm sure we have a new ownership group that's gotten involved, and our first priority is plumbing. We literally don't have plumbing there. There's one porta potty. Literally one porta potty. So we probably have the highest per capita use of the rough as a temporary quick relief area of any golf course in the world, because there's literally one porta potty and it's back near the number 1 tee. So it's very rustic, very raw, but also very pure. From tee to green, it is as good as it gets. And I had a friend out there playing a couple of weeks ago, and he says, who has been a part of golf courses designed by the best guys in the business, Doak and Fazio and Crenshaw and so on. Those guys were amazing. And he came back and said, what's special about Sweetens Cove is every hole is a signature hole. He goes, every hole is spectacular. The first hole is a par 5. Let's get the party started. And finishing, multi-tiered greens for par 3s and so on. It's just special. And Rob Collins, the designer, is Houdini. He's absolutely created a spectacular golf course. And today it's fun. We have some large greens and multi-tiered greens in every one of our holes. Another way that we treat the 9 holes is every one of the holes is double pin. So, you can play You can play the holes a different way, when you come back through your second time. About 80% of our golfers play through a second time.
So wait a second. You have 2 flags on each green.
Yeah, 2 flags on each green. Yeah.
Wow, cool. So you can pick, I'm going to play this time, I'm going to play the left hole location or the right, or depending on where you hit it.
Yeah, you get, well, the flags are different. So you can say, hey, we're playing the blue flag or we're playing the white flag, and you could pick. Guys do it different ways. You go out, and it's fun too, by the way. You go out and say, all right, we're going to play the white flag the first time through, blue flag the second time through, or guys create some competitions where they go out and whoever's got honors picks the flag on that particular hole, and the next guy picks the flag on the second hole, and the shots are different depending on the hole placement. So it again makes it fun and interesting, and there's a great irreverence to this course too. We had a fun big tournament the week before Augusta, where a lot of guys nationally came through and played, and we did I forget what we did, like 4 different rounds. It's called the Ringer, and it's organized by Zach Blair, the golfer, and we did that first 9 holes through. Everybody had to hit hickory stick off driver on one. That was kind of fun one time through. The second time through was a 4-bag challenge or a 4-club challenge. I had to pick any 4 clubs. We did foursomes, alternating shots, and in fact, that was kind of neat. My 20-year-old son, Chase Rivers, actually won that, which is kind of neat that he was able to do that. And then we actually do a secret Illuminati routing. We call it an Illuminati routing, where we kind of create different holes that don't exist. There's a secret tee box going, on number 4 to hit to the number 6 green.
Yeah.
And so it's just got the course and its culture just has so much personality. It's just fun and different.
Yeah, sounds cool, by the way. It really does. And, anytime you play golf, when people go play a course, like, oh, man, I'd love to get that hole again. You get a chance to do that when you go around again. You mentioned 2 pro golfers, and I've got 2 questions. Well, number one, the first one's not really a question with Johnson Wagner. I think he got mad at me I was announcing the Byron Nelson for PGA Tour Radio, and the 7th and 8th greens are right near one another, and I was following the group behind him, and I was standing behind the 7th green, but I was in the 8th hole. I'm is kind of wedged in there, if you will, between the 9th tee box and the 7th tee. Small, unique hole, the par 3, and he's looking to tee off, and I just hear somebody yelling like in the background. I finally look, and I see Johnson waving me over to get out of his sight line. I was like, kind of gave him the nod, like, sorry there, Johnson. Secondly, Zach Blair, are you involved with his? Right, he's got in Utah, right? Isn't he trying to build the Buck Club? Is that correct?
He's trying to build a place up there. Yeah, he's trying to build a place out there called the Buck Club, and he does an event called the Ringer, which he's done, I think 2 or 3 times, and I think 2 of them have been at Sweetens Cove. One was at Sweetens Cove this April. I went, I attended it, and it's really well done event. And Zach is a character, a very clever, strategic, thoughtful young guy who's just is passionate about the sport and just wants to make it fun and interesting, and is a great storyteller and historian, and put together just a great group of guys that all came together. Sweetens, and we'll do another event like that with him, I'm sure.
Yeah, and he uses a bullseye putter or at least has a lot on the PGA Tour, along with the old school shoes. Now, that was our intro into name dropping, but that's not what we're going to do. But you have a unique ownership group that you've put together, and maybe still be evolving a little bit here. And I just love when we first connected, you telling me about some of the owners, and if you're able to disclose who some of them are and how it came about.
Yeah, sure. So we, I first met Rob Collins and the Sweetens guys there a year ago. I was trying to get a little smarter about the trend towards some interesting 9-hole courses, and as a real estate developer, I find the old model of 18 holes with the big clubhouse and rows of condos on fairways just to be tired and dated. And I was trying to get smarter about what some 9-hole possibilities and to be around the country. And so I got to know Rob and spent some time at Sweetens, and we developed a really great connection. And as we spent more and more time together and became friends, I said, what would really be great is if we could help you preserve and protect and enhance this place. And not that it needed necessarily anything, but the place had never made any money. With a lot of pressure on these guys to run a course, a daily fee course that's generating $36, for a 9-hole round, do those things. I said, why don't you let me put together a group and we'll come in and we'll partner with you. You stay here, you continue to operate it, you do great things. We view this as an opportunity to, golf had national parks. Sweetens Cove is a national park. We want to protect this national park. We want to keep it here. We want it to be here forever. We want it to be accessible. We want it to be great. We want you to be properly capitalized. So if you need money to go fix a drain, go fix a drain, and do those sorts of things. So I started to put together a group of us, and there ended up being 5 of us. I have a business partner, a guy named Skip Bronson in Los Angeles, and so Skip and I started, and then the first call I made was to a very good friend of mine who's becoming a pretty prolific golfer himself, Andy Roddick, the retired tennis pro who's transitioned from playing tennis to playing golf a lot, and he's really passionate about the sport. And then we reached out to a guy named Tom Nolan, who is used to be the president of Ralph Lauren Golf, Pine Valley member, really stitched into the golf community. And then with Tom's help, we reached out and were able to secure the most important Tennessean that you could find to be a part of a Tennessee golf course, and that was Peyton Manning, who's also, has become really passionate and engaged and excited about golf. And so we put together this great group of 5 guys as sort of the owners. We then had started to put together a founders group, another 35 guys who will all sort of help us along and be members, super members, and be a part of it, even as we keep it open to the public. And so these 5 guys, it's just been a blast working together as a group on a passion project, and to see the excitement of everybody in it. And, I've told people that, I've known Andy Roddick a long time, very dear friend. Andy is a very smart, strategic, intense guy who's been invaluable to all this process. And I've only been getting to know Peyton a little bit through this process, didn't know him at all prior. And he's been engaged on Sweetens Cove like it's a 2-minute drill in the AFC Championship game. I mean, he is exactly who you would expect him to be. Very smart, very focused, very capable, and it's just been a lot of fun to see 5 guys like this who are all A personalities working together around the table on a 9-hole golf course in rural Tennessee. It's who would have thought? And Rob Collins, the guy, the designer and the force, of course, and the originator of Sweetens Cove. Back in April, I told him I said we had 4 of the owners rounded up properly, and we just gotten Peyton lined up, and we were having it. We had a dinner set up to meet in Chattanooga, and if you're from Tennessee, Peyton Manning is from the heavens, and I didn't tell him that we had Peyton, and there's a pretty well-known story out there now that, we were all meeting at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and I said, hey, let's all get together for dinner, and I want you to meet some of the owner guys that are all going to come in and be a part of this. And I had purposely had Rob back to the door, and I said, and as Peyton was walking in, I said, hey, why don't you turn around and meet one of your new co-owners, and they're standing at the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Chattanooga, Tennessee, is Peyton Manning. And Rob's jaw, once we got it lifted off the floor, it was just a great experience, and just a thrill for a son of Tennessee to meet, the first son of Tennessee. And so it's just been a really wonderful experience so far, and we're excited to see what we can do in years.
Yeah, very cool. Nice job, by the way, presenting that to Rob. I would love to have the hidden video camera to see that happen.
Yeah, I know. That's the one thing we didn't do right.
Well, no, that's all right. Sounds like you're doing a lot right. So the plan is to keep this open to the public a municipal golf course, if you will, a public golf course. Is that the plan?
Yeah, the plan is to keep it open to the public. We'll create some special founder and member opportunities and events, but the plan is to absolutely keep it open to the public and keep it accessible and affordable. We want people to enjoy it. Again, we kind of have the view that it's something of a national park, and we want people to be able to use it and enjoy it. And looking at some small enhancements there, we actually would like to add some additional golf to the campus. We have some room, we have some land. We're looking at, probably both Himalaya-style putting green. We don't have a putting green today at all. So probably a Himalaya-style, good-sized putting green. And we do have a footprint of land that we think we could conceivably do up to 9 holes of par 3 only, sort of like the Cradle at Pinehurst, where you could just go play 70 to 120, 150 yards or something, different types of par 3s, maybe with shared greens and multiple tee boxes or some different things like that, kind of make it fun and interesting. Again, I do think the future of golf, this from the perspective of someone who was never really a part of the past of golf myself, but I think the future of golf really is fun, accessible, a little bit of attitude and culture to it. It doesn't have to be too serious. In fact, it's funny. Like I was mentioning that Jonathan Wagner and a crew of guys from Roddick and others were out on Monday playing, and as they're walking around, they're all playing music on the Bluetooth attached to their their golf bags. It's okay. It doesn't have to be starched collars. It doesn't have to be rigid rules. If you're into from tee to green, you're into the golf and appreciate exceptional golf play and shot values and conditions and great greens and all that stuff. Perfect. But as you're walking around and it's just a collegial and social activity in between shots, there's no reason why it can't just be fun. And you can't take, you can kind of lower the sort of old school aspect of it and kind of view it new school.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I have a friend who's, I'm into golf, hardcore golfer, but I love listening to music on the golf course. And that's how I get my kids to go. Like, hey, bring the Bluetooth speaker. Can we do that? I'm like, yeah, we can. You just have to blast it. You can have it going in the cart, whatever, clip it on the bag and away we go. And it's because it's supposed to be fun, leisurely activity. Not every round is going to be, you're not playing the Masters every round,
Exactly.
So there are some rounds where yes, but there are other rounds where, hey, it's supposed to be fun, social activity, and it sounds awesome. Well, Mark, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to make my way down there to play it sometime within the next 12 months.
To have you, yeah.
Good deal. I look forward to visiting Sweetens Cove. Everybody Google it, check it out, Sweetens Cove. Golf course, you just put Sweetens Cove, it'll pop up there. Heck, even buy a couple hats from Peyton Manning. You're buying from Peyton Manning and Mark, of course, and the other group there. Make sure you and there's also some great diagrams and stuff on the website. You look at the holes and you'll be blown away, including the 5th hole, the King, which is a pretty cool story behind that. Mark, thanks so much for your time.
Kevin, thank you, sir. Have a great day.